and welcome to the 49th episode of Recluse Horror. This is a daily horror movie review podcast. With me again today is Sam.
Hey.
So, ordinarily, I talk about two movies, one of which I've seen that very night, and another that I've reviewed previously in text, aided, of course, by the text review itself. But because of time constraints, I'm going out really soon. We're just going to talk about the movie that we watched today. Well, no, you did watch it today, huh? You didn't watch it with me, but you watched it today.
I did watch it today, yeah.
Okay. So, this is, if you want to know more about the background of the podcast, just listen to any other episode except for the one other episode where I didn't talk about it. So, anyway, we're going to talk about Happy Death Day from 2017. Sam, how did you like Happy Death Day from 2017?
It was okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. What about you?
I think I liked it better than you did. There's definitely some, problems with it. It parts of it feel a little bit, maybe formulaic or run-of-the-mill, but parts of it are really neat. Some of the shots are super good, too. So, Happy Death Day, I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying that all of the things that we're going to talk about are stuff that's like, it's in the trailers, it's in the synopses and whatever, but it is technically a spoiler. If you are not interested in hearing anything about this movie...
Yeah, you want to go into the movie cold.
Yeah.
Just don't listen to
this episode. And we won't do another review, so just, you can just skip this whole episode. Thanks for stopping by. Try another one.
Yeah, watch the movie.
Yeah, watch the movie. It's pretty...
It's actually worth the watch.
It is, yeah.
Like, I didn't particularly think it was great, but it was a fun watch. It was a fun watch, at least.
Yeah, it was.
For most of the part.
It was. And there's some pretty good production value. The acting is good. And that's pretty much all we have to say about it without being able to talk about anything about it. So, So go ahead and turn this off if you want to go into it cold. I'll give you a minute here to get to your stuff. Goodbye. So Happy Death Day is essentially Groundhog's Day, but a horror movie. This girl wakes up. It's a college woman. She's going to college, and she wakes up on her birthday, and then she gets murdered, and then she wakes up on her birthday, and then she gets murdered.
Yeah,
and that's the movie. So, it's basically her trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, she's stuck in a groundhog loop.
Yeah, it's a time loop. For those of you not familiar with Groundhog's Day, sorry for ruining that.
Oh, okay.
That movie.
Everybody's seen Groundhog Day.
I'm pretty sure that was before I was born. No, that was quite a bit before I was born.
So turn the podcast off. Watch Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, for sure. Groundhog's Day is better because at least it was new in that one. And
Groundhog's Day is amazing in really every funny way possible.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's a time loop. She's stuck in a time loop. She's reliving the same day over and over and over again. I don't know. I kind of liked this one. Like I said, the acting was good. There were some really neat shots. There was one in particular that, like, I just can't get out of my head. It was just such a nice shot. And it wasn't totally unique or anything. Like, I've seen stuff like it, but just the execution of that shot was really good. I know we already talked about that shot earlier.
Right.
It's kind of a spoiler, so I won't talk about it to you guys, but, what did you think about the acting?
The acting was fine. It wasn't great acting. It was okay.
No.
I feel like the thing that holds this movie back is it's just a little too standard in every way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the acting just a little too standard. Most of the filming is too standard. The story progression's too standard.
The story progression is very,
and that just makes it hard to, like, raise it above, because it's not, you even doing those things perfectly.
Yeah.
It's doing them, like, good enough, or the way you do them, you know? So I have a hard time with that. The director of this movie has directed a few other things and written a few other things.
Anything worth noting?
He directed, come on. He only has 6 directing credits. One of them being this movie, and one of them being Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, which I watched.
I haven't seen
which was okay, but it also was, like, kind of standard. Like, good, but
Viral.
standard.
Oh,
he's the writer of Viral.
Ew.
a bunch of Paranormal Activity movies, Disturbia.
Man. Oh, God.
But he didn't write this movie.
That guy. No, he didn't write this movie. That guy. Yeah, remember, did we talk about him before?
I don't think so.
Okay. I definitely talked about him in my review of Viral. Yeah, okay. Well, this was much better, so...
Well, the writer of this movie,
and
it's probably why it's kind of good, it's because Scott Lobdell wrote it.
Which one? Oh, Scott Lobdell he's a comic book writer, not artist. He's a comic book writer.
He's a comic book writer, and he wrote a bunch of the X-Men.
Did he do like Days of Future Past or something silly like that?
He did Days of Future Past.
Oh,
the movie.
Okay. I just guessed that.
Or no, it's just they're just characters from Days of Future Past. Oh,
characters from Days of Future. Okay.
But yeah, he wrote this movie.
Is that the only thing he did that wasn't comic related?
He wrote some episodes of X-Men, an episode of Godzilla, some TV movie stuff. He wrote the story of Man of the House, but the story was weird, right?
Yeah, that's weird. Man of the House.
And then this movie, and then the only other credits are from like characters he created,
right? Yeah,
that made it into other series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine Scott Lobdell's writing is what made this like kind of better.
Right.
I don't know how much they stuck to what he wrote or didn't write. But the idea is very like interesting in that way, and it's something that like comic books kind of do. They do a lot of time stuff. Yeah, and they'll like, I'll have an idea, we'll make a whole story about it, and this is kind of like that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, it definitely feels a little formulaic in places, but it is a decent story. It's a solid story, even if it's just like, I'm sure it was pitched like Groundhog's Day, but a horror movie. Right. There's no way that nobody pitched this that way. And they do, by the way, they do acknowledge it in the movie that this movie is Groundhog's Day. I won't say how because it's kind of funny, but like, it's a little funny. They know it's... Yeah, they're not trying to pretend like this is a totally unique idea. Which is nice. If it wasn't, that actually would have like I probably would have been like, nah, I don't like it. Yeah, for sure. If there weren't a direct reference in it in dialogue, then it would have felt like you just ripped it off and now you're not even talking about it. That's one thing that I have a really big pet peeve about. It's fine if you use somebody else's story. It's fine if you adapt somebody else's story. But if you do it completely uncredited, then you piss me off. Like Disturbia. Yeah, like Disturbia. Which is a ripoff of one of my favorite movies, which I've seen probably 65 times. I can't believe they don't say something like that in that. Yeah. Rear Window is a movie it's ripping off, if you were wondering. Yeah, and they never say anything about it. They don't say one thing about it. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. Not in the credits too. I watched through the whole damn credits and it said that other guy directed it, right? That Paranormal Activity. Yeah, the Paranormal Activity guy. Yeah. Yeah, that is very frustrating, actually. Yeah. Well, anyway, the directing in this is really good. I mean, the actors know what they're supposed to be doing mostly. There are a couple that aren't like super great, but they're sort of tropey. The actors are sort of a little bit tropey, and so that plays into it a little bit. But yeah, the shots are good. All of the filming is totally within parameters, even if a lot of it is sort of standard. There are a few peppered in there that are good shots, especially one particular one that I won't talk about. So yeah, no, as far as directing is concerned, this guy did a good job, even though I hate Disturbia and I really didn't like I liked Disturbia enough, except for that thing. Yeah. That is a super ripoff. I guess they don't reference it at all, huh? No. I don't remember. It's been years since I've seen that movie. They make no direct reference to it. I don't remember seeing anything that led me to believe that they were trying to do an homage or something. Show a flashbulb or anything something like that. And that's my problem with Get Out. Yeah, with Get Out, yeah. There's a whole nother But Jordan story. Peele, though, Jordan Peele but not in the movie. Not in the movie. No, not in the movie. Which, if you didn't know that, you wouldn't know that. Yeah. So you should put something in your movie. Yeah, that signifies that. This was like, I won't talk about it. But it's direct. It is direct in this movie. Jordan Peele, he did Get Out, the one everybody's raving over. It's a really good movie, but it's just basically a remake of another movie. I know we've talked about it before. Did we talk about it on the podcast? We have not reviewed it, but we've talked about this before. Okay. Or maybe I have, maybe just me.
I can't remember. But it is, I won't say which movie, but it's basically an adaptation of that movie with a different new concept involved, which is fine and great, but he makes no reference in the movie to it. However, in interviews, he's talked extensively about this movie and how much he likes the other movie. So it's not like he's pretending that it's not, but it would be nice to see, some sort of credit to,
because if you didn't know that, like years and years from now when that movie exists and you watch it and you're like, oh, this is just this other movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I thought was going to happen with this one, which was nice it didn't.
Yeah.
It actually helped me like it a lot more than I probably would normally, because this movie has problems.
Yeah.
There's a little bit, like, dramatic stuff that feels like it's just kind of crammed in there.
Yeah, the end, towards the end, yeah.
It seems like there's some slow periods where just like, yo, when's she gonna die? And we're gonna get another day already. Like, this day's boring.
Yeah. Another thing I did like is they did sort of build in some ways that you could figure out what was going on.
Yeah, what was happening.
Yeah. There were a few ways if you were paying attention.
And trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and trying to figure it out. I kind of think it was too obvious too early a little bit to me, but I also wasn't 100% sure. I was just like, okay, this seems like a high possibility.
No, I actually like that too.
But I love it when they do that. It's like, it's not foreshadowing exactly, but it's like, just giving you pieces in a mystery.
Yeah, it's one of those mysteries where you can actually figure out the mystery opposed to, like, oh, it was this person the whole time, and like, we never met that person, when like, that's not a character in the movie.
Right.
You just threw that at the end, so no one could guess the end. Yeah,
there's definitely stuff in there that can lead you to where it comes if you're paying attention to like little details and stuff, so...
That's always nice. I hate when movies bullshit the ending and they'd be like, it was this random person, no one knows.
Right, yeah.
There's not much more we can talk about.
Yeah. Actually. Well, was there anything in particular that you really liked? Was there any like scene that you really liked in this?
Nothing I liked. I like the idea of Groundhog's Day and those scenes where they redo the scene.
The montage?
Look good. The montage was super good.
I really liked
and
that.
And any of the scenes where they replay it, they do a good job of making it feel like they're actually reliving the day. Mm-hmm. Like the first and second day, those seem like identical scenes with the tiny bit difference, which I was taking note as like, wow, they did a good job making this seem like it was the other day. And maybe there was a bunch of things that weren't the same that I didn't catch. Yeah, but just from watching, I didn't pick anything, like casually watching it. I didn't pick anything up like, oh, that paper plate's not there or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But it
seemed... any continuity.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I didn't notice any either. I wasn't paying a huge, like, really close attention because I already knew what kind of movie it was, and I was more trying to figure out what was happening.
I was paying a little attention, and I'm sure there has to be.
Oh, there must be.
But nothing blaring, nothing that I thought was completely...
Conversely, there were a couple of times when, like, she would get to a place later than she did in her previous thing, and they would be, and the people wouldn't be there necessarily in the same places, like, which was fine. But there were also a couple of times where she would leave a place, like one particular place, she left a place early, and the person wouldn't usually show up for a minute or two, and that person showed up early.
There's a few things that.
There's a couple, but it's very small, and you probably wouldn't pick up on it if you weren't paying attention.
Chalk that up to just things happen differently because something else maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But there were a couple.
It's not too bad.
In a couple of places they did it well, in a couple of places they did it worse. Like if she came out of the building a little bit later, which she did a couple of times, there was a person who would meet her sort of like at the door, who would be a little further away or a little closer, depending.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were trying to pay attention to that.
I was more talking like technically.
Yeah, you're talking
being able to set the two scenes up,
right,
and do them. Yeah. And have them be different, but yet so similar.
Yeah.
Seems really hard.
It does. Oh, no, that would be incredibly hard. Yeah, it really would.
Recommends?
Yeah, recommends. Who would you recommend this for?
Someone who's seen Groundhog's Day and likes horror movies.
Yeah.
I think that's who it's...
Yeah, that's who it's made for.
Yeah.
That is 100% who it's made for. If you like Groundhog's Day and you wish there would be something that was like this in media, and there really hasn't been anything like that. Nobody's tried to do anything that's like this or this much like this. Then I would say definitely try, check it out. It's not as good as Groundhog's Day, but
it is a horror movie.
But it is a horror movie, and it's done well, and it's done fairly well. Just don't go into it anticipating it's going to just blow Groundhog's Day out of the water, because it really isn't. But it's solid.
It's just like an okay horror movie, pretty middling.
I'd say it was good. It's not great. But...
It's just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Than most horror movies.
Right.
Because it's not just, it was a monster. it was
whatever.
A serial killer. it was X. it was a haunting. it was...
Yeah.
It at least adds a little bit extra for you. Yeah. Which in horror is so needed and nice and,
refreshing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I recommend it. I would recommend it to Groundhog's Day fans that aren't going to be like, well, this isn't good enough.
Yeah, this isn't Groundhog. Where's Bill Murray?
Yeah, where's Bill Murray? I would...
Just if you like the idea of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This also, it also has, not to get away from recommends, but it does have some other elements. Like, there's definitely comedy in there, and there's a little bit of romance that's actually kind of decent and stuff like that. So, like, if you like horror, but you have a friend who's, like, not a big horror person, you might be able to coax them into it, saying, like, it's kind of a rom-com horror movie. Kind of. It's kind of a rom-com horror movie, so.
Yeah, and I want to, like, emphasize that it's just okay. Because I could actually pick it apart really bad.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of little details.
Yeah, but that's, like, really spoilery. Yeah. And I actually do want to talk about. Yeah. Because some of them, like, really piss me off.
We can talk about it after.
But other than that, like, if you take it with a grain of salt, there's a horror movie that's doing something different. It's not... Mm-hmm. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Definitely not bad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Sort of.
Okay, podcast over.
Podcast over. What's your rating for?
I don't know, like 3 Groundhogs.
3 Groundhogs
Day movie.
3
out of 5 Groundhog Day movies.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 Groundhog's Day movies.
Yeah.
Dang it! Everything I want to say is spoilers. All the rating
is Groundhogs.
All my ratings are spoilers.
6 more weeks of winter.
I'm gonna give this 45 walk of shames. That's what I'm going to give it. Out of, I don't know, like, how many days are there in a million thousand years?
It's not Groundhog's Day.
I know, it's not Groundhog's Day.
That's a million thousand years.
That's a million thousand years. No, it's supposed to be 10,000 years. Yeah, you should look that up, actually, if you're a Groundhog's Day fan and you haven't heard about that. Apparently in the original script, Bill Murray was supposed to be stuck in that time loop for 10,000 years.
Or something like that.
No, I think it was 10,000 years, yeah. So yeah, anyway, that's our show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, comment, whatever it is on whatever platform you found us. The best way you can help out the show is to share it with someone that you love or someone that you know is interested in horror movies. If they don't have the same platform as you, or if you don't like where you found us as a platform to view us or listen to us, please check us out on YouTube, Player FM, Stitcher, iTunes, Podcast Addict, and pretty much any podcatcher out there. If you'd like to reach out to us on social media, you can do so at Recluse Horror at pretty much all of the normal sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, although I'm way behind on my Instagram pictures, to be fair. I think that's... Oh, or you can email me at reclusehorror@gmail.com. So, yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, then say goodbye, Daniel.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.